And we are live.
I think we are live. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. I think we should wait for a couple of minutes, let people set in, and then we can
Mhm.
kickstart.
Yeah, sure. Let's give them a couple of minutes and then we can start. It's summertime, so I'm assuming a bunch of people are all over the place, maybe on their vacations already. But we are sticking to our Wednesday schedule. And for those who might miss this live, these things are always being recorded, so they will be able to review them and see them at their convenience. We stream this, Shantanu, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on
And on
X as well, right? Yeah, we are everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Daryl
see.
is here.
Yeah, Daniel is here. Hi, Daniel. Daniel is our fan. He's been here last time I remember with a bunch of other people, and I hope to see more people joining. So let's wait a minute, and then we will dive deep into Supabase and Zencoder integration.
I think I think Daryl is using the typical crypto lingo, which is GM. So I see a lot
Hmm.
of crypto talking about this on Twitter. So GM basically means good morning, and it doesn't matter what time it is. It's the typical
Ah,
lingo
it's
that
it's it's always GM.
yes,
Well, you've been in crypto world yourself, Shantanu. I mean, you have
yeah,
this .eth stuff
yeah.
on your website, I think, or something like that. So yeah. Yeah, it's a nice community. It's a nice global community. Yeah. Right. I see more people are joining us a little bit. Oh, East Coast for Daniel. Okay.
Nice.
So he's in the East Coast. You are currently in Bangalore, and I'm in Croatia, in Zagreb. So we are covering pretty much most of the globe.
Oh,
All,
nice.
all, all time zones. It's morning in New
Yep.
Jersey. Yeah. So it's literal GM for Daniel in this case. All right. I okay.
Quick note. Let
Ah,
me.
okay. Victor suggests that maybe make.com and N8N integration. That could be a topic for some of the future events that we will be having. With this, I suggest maybe we start. Shantan, if you want to do a quick intro, and then we can move, and I'll tell a bit more about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's good time to start. Awesome. So, hi, my name is Shantanu. Welcome again to another weekly webinar with Zencoder. Here with me today again is Vibhor, and we'll be walking you through about what Supabase is, how to connect Supabase MCPs with Zencoder, and create real-time cool applications out here. So, yes, the stage is all yours, Vibhor. Over to you.
Thank you. So, as Shantanu said, the idea for today is to show you how to utilize MCPs, something that we have by default supported in Zencoder in both VS Code and JetBrains. I'll be using VS Code today, but if you want to follow along, you can use either VS Code or JetBrains, however it works for you. And I would like also to share with you, how we use that for Supabase. So I can start by quickly sharing my screen. Give me 1 second, and then we will take it from there. All right.
Yes.
You can see my Zencoder. You can see my VS Code, right?
Yep. I can see your
Okay,
screen.
awesome. Okay, awesome. So, as you know, Zencoder comes with the support for something we called agent tools, and those agent tools include different tools that are part of Zencoder itself, our coding agents, like fetching web page content, file editors, and so on. But you can also install MCPs from our MCP library, or you can add custom MCPs. So I have a couple of custom MCPs here. One of them is Git, one of them is Context 7. And what I'm going to add here is the MCP for Supabase. For those of you who might not be that familiar with Supabase, I'm assuming most of you are if you're joining this webinar. Supabase is basically a cloud-hosted or web-hosted Postgres instance, so you can easily connect to it and basically have your database in the cloud. But Supabase goes way beyond that, so it does not end just with being typical Postgres. It also comes with support for authentication, for edge functions, even for storage using the storage buckets. And I will be walking you through some of these things today. I will show you how to integrate them with Zencoder and how to get most of the both worlds. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I will just going to create a custom MCP, one for Zencoder, and I will copy this configuration that I have. So how do I do it? I'll just go to add a custom one. I will call it Supabase. And now I will just paste my configuration here. It says something went wrong, but I think it's because, my key is not correct here, and that is okay. I will share a proper key in a second, and I will now show you how to actually get the key. So I will go to my Supabase. If you click on the account and go to account preferences, you will have these preferences, you will have access tokens. So you can generate a new token. That's what's basically required and what's needed for your ability to create a simple token for Supabase. And I will just call it webinar token. I'll take this off on the side a little bit, just for the safety purposes, because these tokens, you should keep them confidential for your own usage. So basically, you should not be sharing them with others. And I will also take my VS Code on the side just for a second to set this all up, because the token would be otherwise visible. So I'll generate my token here. Give me 1 second, copy it, and then I should be able to put it back into my configuration. Okay. Give me 1 second. Actually experiencing some issues with the Supabase. Hopefully it will all work. You can, in the meantime, as well see here the typical configuration of how it looks like. So there are a couple of options of how you can actually do that. But let me just work on this real quick. Okay, we should be there any moment now. Let me check it again. I'm having some issues with Supabase, which is a little bit unusual, but obviously happens from time to time. Let's see if it works now. Install. I go back. All right. Can you see my VS Code again now?
Yes, we will. We can see your
Okay,
screen.
so now, sorry about this, it took me a little while. So now under the list of the custom MCPs here, we can see that I've added the Supabase and the configuration. So Shantanu, I believe you've shared with the team, with pretty much everyone watching here, the configuration itself, and they can just easily get it and use it. So what I want to share with you as well, as I said, with Supabase docs, there's a bunch of information about it, and also there is a GitHub for the Supabase itself, listing all the tools that Supabase MCP server comes with. And this is really nice, as I will really quickly ask Zencoder to do a pretty similar thing for me, because with MCPs, we are broadly extending the capabilities of any external tools. So this is one of the ways how you can easily do, I would say, almost essentially integrations. And Supabase MCP comes with a bunch of these tools like listing projects, getting projects, creating projects. I'm not going to, like read each and any of those for you guys, but the ability of, it's really nice that we can have a bunch of those tools listed and available, and then ask Zencoder, or basically Zencoder will figure out which of these tools to use appropriately. So if I now go back and start here, new chat, maybe before that, I'll just share that we are starting from scratch. So this is an empty project called Supabase Webinar, very appropriate. I just have a couple of things that were created here by the VS Code itself, but there is no code, there is nothing else that's been written. We will be building this all the way from the scratch. So let me start by just asking Zencoder to list all the tools for me, especially those that are coming from Supabase MCP, and ask it to be detailed. So something that I usually like to do, and this also gives you that sense of understanding. That gives you also a sense of understanding if the tool has been properly installed and available for you. You can always just ask Zencoder, hey, which tools are available? So it will list tools that come here by default, the ones that are generally available by Zencoder itself. But now it's also lists a bunch of MCP tools. So it says, these are from Supabase MCP tools. All of them that are available for myself, user interaction, and so on. So now I will just start and do the following. Give me 1 second. So what I wanted to do is basically, I will paste this prompt. So I want us to create a simple to-do app using React and then use Supabase for storing and persisting the items. I wanted to also create some task categories so that it can be easily managed and worked around with. Ideally, I would like Zencoder to use Tailwind from CDN just to simplify the process a little bit, maybe Vite and React. And agent should be able to interact with different MCP tools that we have just installed. Again, if I go here, check on agent tools, my Supabase is visible here. And it should pretty much do all of these things without me writing any SQL manually. So let's hit it and wait for our coding agent to work on this. In the meantime, I will show you really quickly. I will bring back my screen here from my Supabase thing. So here, it's the empty Supabase project for now, and we will very quickly see how it is going to work going forward. So let me run this. Yes, we are happy with this. Let it work on it. It noticed that it's a fresh directory, so it's completely empty, starting from the scratch. And now it should be able to use, basically follow all these instructions and build the entire project for us. So let's give it a moment. So, you know what? Let's just continue with the existing stuff. So Zencoder also comes with the ability to run these things in coffee mode, so I would not need to be clicking and approving these manually, but for the sake of this demo, I usually use them like this, so it's just easier a little bit. And you can always follow up each of these steps happening in real time, but of course we can figure it out if you want to use something we call coffee mode and execute a bunch of these things on its own. But yeah, let's give it a second. It's going to create a Supabase configuration and everything else. It created some database schema code for me. While it's working on this, Shantanu, do we have any questions? How is this? Are people asking us anything?
Yeah,
How is this looking like? Can you share them with
yeah.
me?
Sure. I have a bunch of questions. One is from
Let me hear
Harish.
them.
He's typing. Yes, he's typing in from LinkedIn. I think it's more of a feedback. So
Mhm.
Harish, says limits were expired soon for free account. Will it be increased anytime soon?
Can you say it again? Limits expired?
Yeah, I mean, I think by limit he mean the request, the number of premium LLM calls and those stuff.
Okay.
I think that's what he's asking. Limits were expired soon. I mean, quickly for the free account that he's using. Will it be increased anytime soon?
So currently we have those daily limits and they're reset on a daily basis. I think the latest information that we have is on Zencoder, and then if you go to pricing,
Mhm.
uh, you should be able to have them there.
Yeah.
So per day, you get 25 premium LLM calls. We don't currently have any plans on changing that. But here's the thing: even if you run out of those calls, there should be unlimited calls in a slow mode. So let's say you use those 25 calls, and after that agent will turn into a slower the agent will then turn into a slower mode. Still you will be able to work on different you will still be able to interact with Zencoder and build stuff, but it will be slower than on any of the paid plans. But we currently don't have any immediate plans on increasing this one. We believe this offers a really good compromise between basically trying out the product, and there is also a bunch of different plans that might be more useful for you if you're on a starter or core, if you're need and request more of the capabilities, then you can use the advanced plan itself. This is what we have available, so I'm guessing that's something that answers the question. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, we do have a bunch of more questions.
Okay,
So
let's go and
question
answer them. Mhm,
Yes. So there's a question from Mayank. He's typing in from YouTube. So he asks
mhm.
how to switch to slow mode.
How to switch to slow mode? Oh, okay, that's an interesting question. You don't switch to slow mode. You don't switch to slow mode on your own, right? So basically, what generally happens is the agent on its own will switch the slow mode for you once you run off the limits, right? So you just keep interacting with Zencoder as you usually and generally do, and then at some point, once you run out of the limits, you will be just moved to a slow mode. You will still have the ability to upgrade to, let's say, a faster, to a higher plan, and then use it like that. But you don't need to manually switch it. Feel free to share more questions while I'm working on this. It seems that MCP is having some issues, but I'm still happy to answer all these questions while we are trying to figure this out.
Done for sure. I think let's move to the
Mhm.
next one. So
Okay.
Subrat, again, he's typing in from YouTube. So Subrat says, I recently stumbled upon Zencoder and I'm pretty much liking it. If you can help
Mhm.
me a bit on how to configure bring your own keys here, that yeah. So that's the question.
Okay, how to configure and bring your own keys here. Right, no problem. While it's working on this one, I can actually show you. So in parallel, Supabase should be able to, uh, the agent should be able to work on this. But let's turn this into Q&A. I don't mind it, and we can do a Supabase and some other opportunities. So for models, Zencoder by default comes with a bunch of models that are available for you. By default, we use something called Zencoder Custom, which essentially is a combination of different models in the background, and we will use the best tool for the job at hand. However, you might want to override them and say, if you want to use Claude 3.5, 3.7, or maybe some of the OpenAI models, you can do that as well. So you just quickly, change it here, turn on use my own API key, and then you can paste your keys here. So in either of those options, it should work for you. Keep in mind one of the things we will be quickly, within within a sprint or two, I believe, we will be having the different changes to the model selector. So it will be more tightly integrated, but we still intend to keep the bring your own key capabilities for you. So it's a great question, and we plan to expand the model selection availability as well. But for now, these are the models that we are currently exposing to users. As a general suggestion and as a general recommendation is to use Zencoder Custom because, as I said, it will know and figure out which tool to use. Which model to use in the background, given different tasks and expectations. So it might use, I don't know, Anthropic or Claude models for generating code, but it might be using something else for I don't know, auto code completion, or maybe some of the other tools that we have available. So yeah, keep it with the Zencoder custom, but if you want to override it and use something else and use your own key, you can do that. One caveat to this one, be mindful of the following. So when you're using Zencoder custom or one of our models in the background, we have pretty generous and negotiated terms with our AI providers, meaning that you have pretty broad, I would say, pretty high limits in terms of how many tokens per minute can be used and generated. Once you use your own API key, your own limits will be applicable. So if you're using, maybe if you're on a tier 1 or tier 2, depending on the different LLM providers, you will likely have lower tokens per minute permissions and availabilities than you would have just by using Zencoder. But we've also noticed that a bunch of our enterprise customers, they have high limits, and for them, using their own API key can be a way for them, to get even more out of the plans that they're currently on. I hope this answers the question.
Oh yeah,
Or
thank you so much, Ubud.
yeah,
So do
sure.
you want to take more questions, or
Yeah,
should we jump back?
let's go with more questions because my Supabase here is struggling. I will show, however, the one that I just did a little bit earlier today, so you can see. Don't worry, this token has been invalidated, so I don't mind sharing this one. But I will show you literally how this thing worked before these issues. And I saw that there is like a message on Supabase website, so
Mhm.
maybe they're encountering some issues with that. So what I asked it, list me all the Supabase tools. It listed them for me, created, database migration tools, branch management tools, all of them here for me. Then the next
Mhm.
step, I wanted to build this entire Wheat app, the stuff that I just showed and explained a moments ago. And you see here, listed project, listed organizations. It says, oh, I can see you have a Zencoder DevRel organization. That was the one that I shared with you just a moments ago. Um, what I really like, the MCP itself, once it works,
Right.
it can figure out also if adding this project will incur additional costs that you might have, right? So for this one, it says, oh, it's going to be $0 per month. Let me confirm that, and then it applied different migrations, created this entire project for me. Pretty much all the stuff that you saw moments ago, right? But it just worked with the MCP directly. I'm moving fast forward through this one. It updated the README file for me, so with all the different features that it generated. What's really nice is also the MCP itself can provide you with more information about, for example, role level security. So with Supabase, you will notice that there is this anon key, which is a key to be publicly exposed and used publicly as such. The security in Supabase is managed using something called RLS, like a row level security. And with Zencoder, I could ask it to set, by default, Zencoder will set those things for me, but I can always go more in detail and ask Zencoder, hey, can you list those RLS policies for me and explain them to me in more detail? Let me show you how that looks like. Yeah, it created this app for me, and then I asked it, tell me more about these policies, extended them for me, and it explained, for example, that only the currently logged in user has the ability to create tasks. So the tasks that are created for myself are just visible, within my scope. They're not visible for others. Um, you see here, it was smart enough to, for example, say, okay, instead of hard coding this in Supabase JS, let me expand this and put it in .env file. That's something that we are seeing here. And then, add that to git ignore so it's not committed. Pretty much the general flow. You can always ask it, as I said, what's the difference between using these anon keys and also row level security. Zencoder has that contextual awareness, and it will do that for you. It will explain all of those elements for you. But as I said, here, for example, I asked it to use a very simple email authentication, right? So instead of, just using local storage or hard coding some of these things, it was quite useful for me. I just wanted to use the simple email authentication itself, reassign that to a different user. Here, as you can see here, I asked that, list me all the complete RLS policies for the database, pulled it all from the MCP for me, for my reviewing security guarantees. So it's really nice. It takes a lot of care in making sure that, the by default, when you create a database, by default, when you're working with this, that it gets done properly. So it's not something that that will leave you unsecure. Always, it's a good opportunity. It's a good practice, I would say, to double check and make sure that everything that's been generated is still valid and it works well. But by default, Zencoder should do a good job with that. Let's proceed with more questions. I'm hearing some notifications, so I'm guessing we are getting a bunch of them. So
Yeah,
feel free to ask.
done. So Victor has a question about: do you get charged for using your own key?
Well, you get charged by your LLM provider, but Zencoder does not charge you any extra. We charge you for the seat, right? So, for example, you are on one of the core, starter, or whatever plans that you have. That's your like monthly charge, but there is no charge on top of you using the key. You will be charged by your LLM provider, right, based on the tokens or API call, based on the tokens used by them. But that has nothing to do with Zencoder. So that means that you'll be paying to Anthropic or OpenAI, depending on the model that you're using.
Makes sense. Got it. Um, I have another question from Subrata.
Sure. I can't hear you anymore. Can you repeat it, please? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So Subrata is asking: is starting an application from scratch with Zencoder better, or using an existing project for fixing and feature additions is better? Which one is better?
Oh, okay. That's an awesome question. So basically, I would not say here which one of them is better. I would say that both of them are, perfectly valid use cases. So, for example, here, when let me scroll at the top of this one. So when I started this project, it was, completely empty. So I had zero files, nothing was created there. I just wanted to list those files for me, and then I tell it, create me a simple to-do app. Basically, starting from scratch, you can see here that it generated a bunch of these files. Worked really well, created all the configs for me, including the README file. Here is the first, like the list of those files. And then, as I asked it to develop and expand on those, it did that. It did so for me. But we also see a lot of users using Zencoder on existing code bases. So for example, let me open. This is something that we typically demo. There is a relatively large code base we have here called, it's like an open source project, Hatchet, right? So it's a large code base with a bunch of, files written in Go, also a bunch of files written in TypeScript and Python and so on. So for example, if I want to work on this code base and ask it to add some features for me, Zencoder's agent will work on that as well, perfectly fine. So let me show you. Let me actually try and execute that. I will use our Jira integration, and I will ask it to work on this task. So basically, I wanted to extract namespaces from some of the. Okay, just created some tests here. I will just ask it to work on this one and extract namespaces from one of the files here, and then use that. Okay, now I see what's happening. Maybe there have been now my CLI seems to be coming to life, but it's a little bit late now for this demo. Never mind. Let me go back. Let me go back really quickly. Where were I? Where was I? Okay, here. So what's going to happen now? Right now, the agent is going to be working on a bunch of different files, So you can definitely use it for, starting the projects from the scratch, but you can also use it for existing code bases. As I said, I would not say which one of those are better because it depends on your use case, right? If you are starting a new project for a client or for yourself, then obviously, you will use an agent to start like that. But if you want to make changes, maybe refactoring or improvements to an existing code base, then you can do it. Then you can do it as well. It's not either or, it's both, just depending on your use cases. As you can see here, for example, we have repo grokking as a technology in background, which has a really good and in-depth understanding of the code base itself. So it will check, a bunch of different files. It will figure out exactly where, which files need to be changed. We have customers which have code bases between 5 to 7 million lines of code, and agent still finds its way around and figures out exactly, where it needs to make changes. That applies for, working with different tests. That applies for working with, adding new features. So it's completely up to you. You can use it on your existing projects, or you can start new projects with it. I hope that answers the question. It's a little bit longer answer, but I just wanted to make sure that you don't have to choose Zencoder for one or the other. You use it for both of the things. As I said, we see people, especially enterprises, with existing large legacy code bases, and then using Zencoder to improve them, either add new features and build upon them.
Got it. I I think that's it. That's all the questions that we had from the
That's all
chat.
the questions they had. Okay, so I'm aware that this didn't really go as I expected it to do because of this authentication with MCP server thing. So
Mhm.
my apologies about that one, but I think it was still a good opportunity for us to chat and answer your questions here. We will be having these webinars, as I said, again next Wednesday. So we will update you on the topic, and I hope to see you then. Hopefully, with a little bit less of the technical issues that we encountered this time, but still happy to answer your questions. I would also encourage you to join our Discord and to join our Slack. Shantanu, if I can ask you just to maybe share those links in the with users in the chat on LinkedIn, on the YouTube, wherever it is that we are streaming. And I would encourage you to join us there. We have a nice growing community of people uh, asking questions, sharing knowledge between each other, and I think that's something that really makes this quite special. And I would like to see as many of you there. We are also open to different ideas and topics that you would like us to cover down the road. As I understand that you might be having, more interesting things that you would like us to share with you. Feel free to let us know, and I'll be happy to share them with you.
Awesome. Um, I think there's one more question before. Do you want to take that up right now?
Of course, yeah, sure.
Awesome. So there's a question from Victor. Victor is saying, for example, I built a tool for debugging and
Mm-hmm.
browser control log, which is a browser extension. How do I integrate
Mm-hmm.
it with Zencaster so users can use it in real time?
Mm, I'm not sure, Victor. What's the part that you want to use in real time, Zencoder or the or I mean, typically what we already have. I can show that maybe in a second. Give me 1 second. I will show you something that we already have. Pum. Let me just check if it's still available here. It should be encoder. Right. So I will share my screen really quickly again. Give me 1 second. It's a nice question, Victor. I just want to be sure that I completely understand what is it that you're trying to do, and that we can actually answer it properly for you. Mm. So is my Chrome visible? Shantanu, can you tell me if it's a
Yeah, just a
browser?
minute. Yep, it's visible.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So what I have, it switched me. So what I have here, so I opened some project in Jira, but there's an extension for Zencoder that is freely available from Google Chrome Marketplace. So you can easily install it in Google Chrome browser or other Chrome-based or Chromium-based browser, so it will work in Edge as well. And it serves a couple of purposes, right? It allows us to expand beyond the scope of the built-in integrations. So for example, if I have some of the tickets here, I could click solve with Zencoder, and it will bring this context to Zencoder and it will solve this for me. But if I were to go into my developer console here, you see those usual tabs, elements, console, sources, and so on. But at the end, we also have a Zencoder tab. So if you are using our Chrome extension and want to debug a website, so if there are some issues, you can just use this Solve with Zencoder button, and it will actually take this nicely formatted um, issue or a log or a message, however you want to say, and bring it to Zencoder. So instead of going to console and just copy pasting these things and trying to figure out what to do, you can use this extension for bringing this context to the project, to the Zencoder itself. So that's one way how you can deal with the with basically grabbing the context that's related to those errors. So I'm not sure if this is something that Victor, you were trying to build, or the context was somewhat
I think it was some,
different.
yeah, it was a little different. So he just added like integrating their API, so users can access it via their IDs and code integration feature. So it's basically building on top of Zencoder. I think that's what he meant.
Okay. I see the message now. So currently we don't have that really exposed. What we do have, and what we will be definitely doing a demo soon on, are our autonomous agents. So maybe creating custom agents or autonomous agents that you can run as a part of your pipeline might be something that's closely related to the case that you're mentioning here. Victor, I'm happy to follow up on this after the event. We can jump on a call or in a chat just to figure out how we can make sure that you get the most of the product itself. As I said, building custom agents and then integrating them with the pipeline, with this CI/CD and autonomous agent pipeline that you're building, is something that I believe could be interesting for you.
Got it. Cool. I don't think we have any more questions. But yeah, if you have more questions, feel free to drop them on Slack or Discord, and we'll pick it up from there.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining. We will be meeting very very soon again. We will be showing you our next topics that we'll be having. Slightly with a little bit more luck about the MCPs itself. It's Zencoder did its part, it generated, but I wanted to show you the end to end, the entire process. But these are the demo days, yeah, and always a risk when you're doing this live. But there's always pretty challenging and rewarding experience when it all goes well. So we will see you in the next one in about a week from now. Thank you all so much for joining, Shantanu. Thank you for being an awesome co-host and bringing those questions up front for me.
Always. Thank you so much, Vibha. Thank you so much for joining in once again. Thank you everyone for joining in today. See you again next week, next Wednesday. Till then, take care. Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.